In just one day, I went from this to this. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to Arma di Taggia, a small city near Sanremo, where the Pista Mandracci is located. The circuit, inaugurated in 1993, has been closed down for almost 10 years, and it is now time for a grand reopening.
Bella anche questa!
Questa è personalizzatissima. Come diceva qualcuno, io me stesso sono tutte robe progettissime.
As you saw here, there are a lot of people that came from the campionato dimenticato.
Qua facciamo un bel vloghino qua.
Siamo qua pronti alla Pista Mandracci.
Madonna, mi pare di essere quel mio amico deficiente che fa sempre video così col telefono, madonna.
Io da boomer, devi fare dal basso verso l'alto da
Così,
boomer.
guarda.
Ciao.
Così, guarda.
Siamo qua alla Pista Mandracci, siamo pronti per la Wacky Race.
Oh sì.
Esatto.
Prima gara.
Prima gara.
No, non l'ho neanche mai viste le Wacky Race, sono troppo giovane.
Perché è tra l'altro è un più recente, del 1968.
This whole race was organized by Nicolò, Giada, Ammirati and Lorenzo Fittipaldi, two racers and race directors for the campionato dimenticato. And speaking of that championship, here there are also Matteo Maero, which we call the dad of the championship, that represents Motori Dimenticati. I have a full playthrough of the 2025 championship, and 2026 one will start within some days. And so, after announcing every team that will take part in this race, which we'll go over in a minute, there's also another important thing to know. It is Nicolò's birthday, and so all of us racers of the Forgotten Championship decided to do a little something just for him.
La seconda parte.
L'ho capito.
Arriverà.
Segnato sul biglietto, dai. Eccoci. Poi c'è il filtro. Non è un tanto. È un casco da vita. È dentro, è compreso. Mamma
Non è
mia.
un cane, è un gatto.
Ah, una PlayStation.
Casco abbastanza tamarro. Mamma, ma è bellissimo.
Sei veramente il fresco.
Medusa con le tettone.
È bellissimo. Ragazzi, non so come ringraziarvi, chiunque ci abbia fatto il pensiero, veramente mi avete commosso.
Buon compleanno!
Viva il
Auguri!
As you said before, we're racing in the Wacky Race. But what are the Wacky Races? There's something pretty funny and easy to understand. It was a cartoon from 1968 featuring these races across all the United States. The participants are one crazier than the other, and every team will be inspired on one of these vehicles.
Starting line. First is the Turbo Terrific, driven by Peter Perfect. Next, Rufus Roughcut and Sawtooth in the Buzzwagon. Maneuvering for position is the Army Surplus Special. Right behind is the Ant Hill Mob in their bulletproof bombs. And there's Ingenious Inventor, Pat Pending in his converter car. Oh, and here's the lovely Penelope Pitstop, the glamour gal of the gas pedal. Next, we have the Boulder Mobile with the Slag Brothers, Rock and Gravel. Lurching along is the creepy coupe with the... And there's the Arkansas Chugabug with Luke and Blubber Bear. Sneaking along last is that mean machine with those double-dealing do-batters, Dick Dastardly and his sidekick, Muttley. And even now they're up to some dirty trick, and they're off to a standing start. And why not? They've been chained to a post by shifty Dick Dastardly, who shifts into the wrong gear. And away they go on the way out Wacky Races.
And so, the teams have been created, and with me, there will be two known faces of the Campionato Dimenticato, Gaetano Esposito from the HRT team, and Simone Cinelli from Syntax Reborn. And also with the help of Nadir Tali as our race engineer, we will be the Arkansas Chugabug.
You better chuck some stuff overboard and lighten the load. Good son, Blubber, not me. Well, Blubber, can't you even say welcome back?
Yeah, I have no idea how this pile of planks with that ancient stove on top and a bear and a redneck driving it can go toe to toe with other racers, but alright, Well settled. Enough talking though, it's time to get on the kart and start our first session of driving. And after the last few checks, we're immediately thrown into the track. We'll do the first 2 laps under the safety carts, and so I will take this small time to talk about this beautiful track. Only 500 meters create this spiral-shaped circuit, but don't be caught off guard, even though it's not that long. With its 7 turns, it is a very fast track, with long, winding, never-ending turns that basically act as straights. And after just half a lap, the safety car will pull outside the racing line and will let us through for the first flying lap of the Pista Mandracci. Now, this is just the qualifying, and we have 30 minutes to set a time that will put us on the grid. For now though, we just have to learn the track as much as possible. Arriving down for the first time in the long winding turn 5, and after that there's turn 6, one of the major overtaking spots of the entire circuit. Yeah, unfortunately there's a small problem with this track. Being the first ever race of the circuit, the track is very slippery. It's the first time this is being used, and so it's like driving on ice, especially on the 2 major overtaking spots of turn 4 and turn 6. Ahead of me there's Andrea Melia, and he also knows this. Andrea, he raced in 2024 in the Campionato Dimenticato with Polenta March, and now in 2026 he will race with Corti Force. But for this race only, he will race for Peter Perfect's Turbo Terrific. We go up the hill another time here. He stays quite a lot attached to the inside curve here, and I'm noting every line he is making to then be at my best for the race. We both go wide here and someone pokes their nose inside. Fortunately, it's not enough to pass us. Look at how slippery the asphalt is here as we continue to race around the track. Unfortunately, a gap has formed between me and Andrea. That's because I don't do the most important corner in the right way, this being the all-important hairpin after the descending sweeper, which is turn 3. But let's now cut a little bit of my stint, as things are going pretty smooth at the moment. Yeah, I got the commentator curse on myself. At least I hope they have a trophy for the one who crashes first. We get back on track, and we set our sight to someone ahead of us. Probably one that overtook me after my little shunt of earlier. We get up a hill, following him like a shadow. I also think he saw me while going up. That's good news. If he knows that someone is just behind him, he might make a mistake and gives us the punition, even though he's only qualifying for now. We got quite closer to him in this couple of turns. My back snaps out a little, but I feel racy. We traverse the first 2 corners of the circuit, 2 90-degree corners, which are basically done like this one big turn. We descend the never-ending turn 3, and we reach turn 4. Let's see if we can do something here. Oh, but Marco Pontello! Marco Pontello decided to not do the turn basically, and go straight on. It then starts a fiery chase from me, trying to get the Polenta man, even overtaking some other guys while doing this. Even the guy we were chasing before, I managed to got him while chasing without even noticing, honestly. But for Marco, yeah, not a lot I can do against him. He seems very fast around this Ligurian spiral. So at least for now, we will come back to the pit and give our car to Gaetano.
Che pista, cazzo!
Ti porto da Cimarelli così gli dice un attimino buona pista, anche se un po' di stratto ma non un cazzo deve sapere. Per capire le cose. Ma visto comunque buono il tempo. Dovremmo scriverci il tuo tempo più veloce, che però non lo...
38 e 7, sì. 7,27 mi pare.
Non c'è una volta che non si tiri.
Sì, oh, ho vinto il premio per prima uscita di pista della pista Mandracci. Voglio un premio per questo, il primo incidente da sotto.
Ti ho visto. Ti abbiamo visto tutti.
Bene!
Ho avuto paura.
Now that my work is done, at least for now, I can take some time off to rest my limbs a little and also talk a little bit more about this beautiful track. Created in 1993 by Guido Mandracci, our racing prodigy in the 60s and 70s, both on 4-wheel and 2 wheels, that where everyone see just a little hill, he saw a go-kart track. Originally called Pista degli Oleandri, translated the Oleander Circuit, was a fan favorite not only between ordinary people, but also between others that would go and become racing legends, like Michael Schumacher and Max Biaggi. Unfortunately, it was then closed in 2017 for some legal problems, but now, in 2026, got reopened, and at the helm, there's Guido Mandracci's daughter, Giada Mandracci, and then here we are, being part of the history of this incredible track. Okay, stop yapping now, because it's now time to start the race. For the qualifying, unfortunately everyone got faster and faster. And so, we'll start our race in second to last position, in P9 out of 10. Not really the best, but you know what they say, when you're at the bottom, the only way is up, right? Right? And so, after all of this, the formation lap starts, so now everyone can put into position according to their plan. And after a minute that felt like ages, not only for attention but also for the fact that they're taking their sweet time, everyone will line up and the race will start and history will be made.
Vabbè. Boh. Oh. No, Cina. Cina, porco zio.
Ok, siamo nella merda.
Già. Decisamente.
Stavo dato su questa curva.
Oh. Bravo Pontello! Gattia a quattro porchi. Bravo Cina! Tienila, 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 tienila!
So yeah, we're last. So things really didn't go up, as I was saying before. The silver lining is, there was a problem on the lap counting software, and so the race was stopped. This is a very big opportunity to rethink it all and go again, this time I hope with better results.
Sì.
Facciamo l'orientare dopo 10 minuti in questo caso, io diciamo.
Cosa?
Facciamo l'orientare dopo 10 minuti, dato che questo è il passo.
Ok, va bene.
And after a small break, the racing went underway again in Arma di Taggia. After the first stint done by Simone, it's now our time to do ours. And as we wait a little bit for the car to arrive, we will jump on board and start our first stint in the race. Here we are! We start our first stint here at the Pista Mandracci, and even though I see someone in the distance, I came out on a pretty lonely place. This isn't all that bad honestly. Maybe it could even be a blessing, as this means more practice time for me, without any distractions. And I think I need it, because I don't feel that fast at the moment, even though it seems like we're catching up to the one ahead of me. Losing the rear end on the hairpin here, and with the rear end I also lose a little bit of time. This is not initial D, this is the Wacky race, even though a drift competition would go pretty hard here if the track was a little bit bigger. As we do the last 2 turns and we complete the first lap of our stint. And so let me take you through on a complete lap of the Pista Mandracci. At first 2 90-degree corners that basically act as one big turn, a small straight which isn't straight, and then the big one comes in. This long never-ending sweeper to the right that basically acts as a straight, and then comes the most important corner on the track. The one where everyone has problem, me included. Another small straight is up next, and then there's a copycat of the big sweeper we've done before, just to the left and a little bit tighter. We then come to the second overtaking spot of the track. Turn 6, a pretty tight hairpin to the left, and just after that, a twin corner just to the right, and then you completed a lap of this beautiful Ligurian track. Well, okay, it's been kind of a while, and the only interesting thing that happened is the guy crashed on the inside of turn 6. Well, I will use this time to announce that, kinda like for the races of the Campionato Mitigato, for this one there will also be a featured video with the full race, with all my stints. I usually don't do this, but because it's the first race of this grand reopening, I decided to show some love for this new circuit. And with all that said, we reach the big sweeper once again, and we stay a little bit more on the outside this time. Probably is the wrong call, but we'll try this out anyway, you never know. Oh, a small little error. I'm sure it won't happen again. We continue to race and we get passed by this guy over here. He's Matteo Rossi, racing for the Converta car team. And so for the first time we have a race in our hand. We gain a little bit off him. We get on the outside, try a switchback and try to get him on turn 6. No such luck, we also lose the kart a bit. We continue to try to stay attached to him, even on the main straight. But unfortunately that little slide off completely killed our momentum. Fortunately, a stroke of luck hit me all of a sudden. In fact, he approached a back marker and he's getting held on quite a lot here. This is a big opportunity for us. We can close the gap in no time. The back marker continued to be troublesome. Matteo, visibly frustrated from his behavior. And in the first 2 corners, we managed to get back basically everything we've lost. We get by the back marker, not wasting even a percentage of what is lost. And so we're back at it. We can restart our fight that was on pause. We do the truly important turn 4, we basically exit at the same speed. He watches over his shoulder. Bro, even have to triple check. But we didn't even realize how much time he lost. He doesn't go defensive here, even though he doesn't really have to, as we are a little bit far away, and also he's really good on this couple of corners. He watches over his shoulder. Bro, even have to triple check. He continued to watch over his back. He is feeling the pressure. An overtake from my part could be coming soon, and maybe it could be at the end of this long sweeper. As we're gaining and gaining and gaining. This could very well be it. This could be the corner.
Engineer? Yeah, I'm engineering my fucking limit!
Yeah, thanks, put me back in the race, I don't really care anymore. And so, after being held up by the same back marker that held Matteo, and also spying out another time, because why not? My stint, if we can call it that way, comes to an end. After that, I decided to take some time off while my teammates complete their stint, so I could cool off and think on how could I improve my racing around here. And after talking to other racers that are also racing here today, I could have found a way. And so, without wasting any time, let's see if this piece of advice will work in my second stint. Here we are! My second stint of the race starts now! And as an objective for this one is to learn the infamous hairpin, which I'm not doing quite right at the moment. Talking with Nicolò, another known face from the Campionato Dimenticato, he told me to brake twice. Basically brake, then release the brake, and then brake again some meters later. And I will try it just now as we reach the hairpin. Went a bit wide on the corner, but it seems it's working. And I will continue to try and do this corner multiple times, lap after lap. And I was able to see that I was getting better at it. Each time I did it, I was able to stay closer and closer to the inside curb, and without spinning even once. This is incredibly exciting. I cannot thank Nicolò enough. Now we're really into the groove of things, and it couldn't get any better.
Sto capendo.
What is it, the third time that I'm jinxing myself today? Jinxing aside, with me getting better at that corner, I didn't even realize that I'm also doing pretty good times. And without even realizing, I catched up to someone ahead of me. It is Riccardo Rossi on the Basswagon. And slowly but surely, I was able to reduce the gap to 0 to him. And as we go down, I managed to get a little bit of slipstream. We're still a little bit too far away to make a move at the hairpin. We'll use our new double braking technique to gain a lot of ground over him. As he exits the door very slowly, we'll bump him just a little to let him know that we're here, we arrived, and it's on for the position. He goes defensive at the next turn, but doing so loses him a lot of time. We follow him through. At the last corner goes a little bit too wide, and so we get even more ground over him. First two corners, and we're still here, following through, copying his line, getting the maximum amount of slipstream. We get down on the bend, he goes defensive, even too much maybe. Watches back and go back on the ideal racing line, but it's too late, he already lost it all. We play safe at the U-turn, and after that, we pounce on him on the inside. Now is our time to defend, but it won't be that hard, as one lap later it already disappeared onto the distance. And honestly, after that, the stint got pretty calm. So yeah, I will go back to the pits now. Not before remembering you that if you wanna see the full race, there's a video in my channel.
Cazzo di stint, porca puttana, non quello che ho fatto prima. Bravo.
And flying I was. Probably the greatest stint I had for the entirety of the race. And also the fastest lap of our entire team. The new technique works, and it works wonders. It is now time for Gaetano to do its stint. Then it's Simone, and then I'll do the last one, which will be a little bit shorter than the others. And so, for the last time today, we will hop on the kart and start our last stint here. Here we go, our last stint starts now. With a little bit of confusion from the marshal on the pits. The first waved the flag to let me go, to then block me just right after that. It's okay though, everyone makes mistake, me included. Looking back at the stint, it breaks my heart to say that it wasn't very eventful. It was just me racing around the course with not much happening. Except for this. And you may be asking, what's so special about this? This is not even close to the hardest spin you had in the entire race. I'll put it back in slow motion and see if you can catch it. Yeah, you saw that right. Fucking Mothra trying to get inside my helmet. Nothing every racing driver can say about their racing career. Other than that, yeah, after a really short stint, my time on the track has come to an end. And so, after just one more stint done by Gaetano, this race will be closer and closer to its finish. And eventually, the checkered flag will fall on the winners. It is now time for trophies. First one, for pole position, goes to Federico Abegal, the young racing prodigy that dominated the race, alongside his team. And right after that, there's the Dick Dastardly Best Crasher of the Day, which surprisingly doesn't go to me, but it goes to Lou, for a spectacular crash with Vanessa Sampon from the Compact Pussycat team. Right after that, there's a trophy for the wackiest of them all, and an incredible turnaround doesn't go to a racer, but it goes to our racing engineer Nadir, so at least our team won something. And we can then come to the most important ones, the podium for the race, which saw in P3 the Turbo Terrific of Lou Presti, Andrea Melia and Kevin Liguori, then in second position the Army Surplus Special of Nicolò Ammirati, Luca Berardinucci and Michaela Zola, and in first position the one and only the Mean Machine of Federico Abegal, Stefano Rossi and Nicola Uccello. And here we are with the complete result of the race. In the top 5 we can also find the Bouldermobile of Monfort e Bianchi, sorry if I butchered the name, and the converter car of Pontello, Fasani and Matteo Rossi. As for us, it's a P7, and honestly, even if we are in the lower part of the top 10, I'm still pretty proud of this result, especially if we think that we started in P9 and where I was in my first stint. And so, this is it for the Wacky race. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.